Welcome to the Pulse. My name is John Hancock. That's my real name. And this is a Cardio Miracle production sponsored by Cardio Miracle. And today, our first guest is Elizabeth Fairchild. She is a creative maestro and a client relations manager at Cardio Miracle. And how you doing today, Elizabeth?
Hi, John. John Hancock. How you doing? I'm doing great.
Well. Great. Good to see you this morning. Thanks so much for being on the show, and thank you to Cardio Miracle for sponsoring it, and also for all the great equipment. Thank you to John Hewlett and Cardio Miracle. So today we just want to get to know Elizabeth a little bit and learn about her experience in the health and wellness industry, and especially with Cardio Miracle. So just to start off, how I introduced you as the creative maestro and relations manager at Cardio Miracle, but what would you add to that? How would you describe kind of your position or what you do?
I would say Cardio Miracle is a beautiful budding business that has grown so much since I've been with the company in the last 5 years. And it's healing, the product is healing people's lives. And that's the most important thing to me. So everything that I do and all the hats that I wear, whether it's calling customers. I mean, I had a conversation with a woman the other day for 2 hours, and all she needed was an order shipped to her. But we ended up having a 2-hour conversation, and now we're like besties texting each other, so it's just amazing the type of people that you can meet on this journey. So when I would describe what I do at Cardio Miracle, I would just say, helping make miracles happen, because that's essentially what we're doing. So
that's amazing. Wow. Yeah. Thanks for sharing. So what you've only been with Cardio Miracle a few years, is that right?
Yeah, it will be 5 years in January.
Oh, 5 years. So
yes.
But you've been interested in health and wellness, long before that. What got you originally interested in that?
Yeah, well, I love health and wellness and beauty and fitness and all the things that make us strong and help us to take care of our temple, which God has given us, by divine property, and design these beautiful bodies that we have that can do amazing things and that can heal themselves. So I got into this kind of space when you could basically say when I was a child, because my mom was, feeding me arnica, putting arnica on my bruises when I was a kid. Plantain juice, if I had anything, garlic and mullein for my ear. She made me like an applesauce cake when I was 3, and my aunt yelled at her because she said, "You really need to give this girl like a real cake." And my mom was like ahead of her time. So I grew up with like this knowledge of herbs and botanicals and like just natural healing. And I've always been fascinated in it because it's worked for me. And when I recommend it to other people, I mean, I'm known to my friends as like Webster, because I have all these like fun facts of just all this information, especially when it comes to like health and all this stuff. So.
Speaking of Webster, you're going to have to help me out with this arnica thing. This is news to me. What on earth is arnica?
Oh, so Arnica Montoya, I think it's called, is the official name. It's this little yellow flower. It grows in the mountains of Montana, I think primarily. I think that's why the name is what it is. But you can take it internally, but you have to be careful because a little bit you don't want to overdo it with arnica internally. But as far as putting it on inflamed, like bruises and bumps and things like that, it might sting if you put it on an open wound, but especially for bruises, like I know I'll bump my leg on a coffee table or like on my desk or something, and I put the arnica on and the bruise is gone in like a few days, versus like if I don't put it on, it's like a week and a half. Like, I mean, this stuff is seriously, I mean, it's plant medicine, I mean, it's amazing. It's good stuff. And you can buy it at any health food store. So
it's sort of, you've had this interest since you were young, and a lot of it had to do with your mom's influence and
Yes.
So how did she, if you don't mind me asking, how did she get into the natural
That's a great
herbal healing?
question. I think that she's always loved the Lord. My whole family, I was raised being born again. That's all I
Mm-hmm.
really knew about labels and religion.
Mm-hmm.
I think spirituality is a relationship. I don't have to be labeled anything or be any denomination to be something to God.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's raised me with that. And I think just in her walk with the Lord, she was just led to this. And also in college, she was home ec major. So she took like organic chemistry. She took these cooking classes. She took, all kinds of like that related to that kind of stuff. So she's also a
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal cook, and I'm trying to learn her ways. We want to go to La Peach. And I have to side story. We really want to go to La Peach. It's in France. It's thousands of dollars to go, but it's Julia Child's cooking cottage. Someone bought it and turned it into a cooking school.
Huh.
And that would be the lifetime experience for me and my mom. But anyways, that would like culminate all our interests because they use the finest herbs. You go to the markets and get all the food, and you can just see how much I love that
Yeah,
is.
no,
Yeah.
no,
So
La Peach. So yeah, I've never heard of that. That sounds that would be an exciting adventure for you and your mom.
yeah,
So
her influence has always been in my life. And because of her college days and then her walk with the Lord, I think she just ultimately was like, hey, I'm going to do the healthy thing because I believe that maybe doctors aren't always right. And I happen to think the
imagine
same
that.
thing. So,
Right.
yeah.
So your mom's influence was big in your life, but you also kind of found your own path. And so what are some of the things in your journey that kind of brought you to be so passionate? Because it's obviously you're very passionate about this health and wellness. What else in your journey kind of brought you
Yeah.
to that?
Well, I've had a lot of things I think that ultimately led to my interest, just life experiences. I remember when I was a child, me and my sister, we went to this, my sister's name, she's since went to heaven. Her name was Brooke. She died of a congenital heart defect in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
But we had some really great experiences when I was a kid. And I always think of her as my sister, never like past tense, but I know she's my guardian angel. So I'm okay with that. But we had the best life. I mean, we went to this place called Camp Jewel, and we learned about herbs, and we would gather vegetables and bring them to the cafeteria. I mean, we'd go plant identification out on the mountain. I mean, it was just acres upon acres in Connecticut. It was absolutely beautiful. They had mountain climbing, and you just learn how to appreciate beauty. And I think also since she passed, I think I've learned to appreciate beauty. And in that beauty, for me, God created nature. And so I am constantly fascinated with all the things that God, Hippocrates, that ancient, what is he? I can't think of what he's called right now. Is he a
Yeah, the Greek physician or
Greek physician? That's what he is.
yeah,
Hippocrates.
sure.
He said, let medicine be thy food and food be thy medicine. And I totally believe that. And that's kind of where I'm coming from. There's Hippocrates Health Institute in West Palm Beach. I know people that have gone there and healed from incredible things that you wouldn't think were possible. Yeah.
So you've seen some miracles in your early life already. And what describe your journey after that, from what brought you to Cardio Miracle and meeting John Hewlett and all that?
Well, I think it started, like most of my stuff long ago. The heart thing was always part of my family because of my sister. And then when she passed, my family rushed me to all the best doctors, and they wanted to make sure my heart was okay. And my heart was okay by doctor standards. But when I became it was the next year, I remember getting into sports in high school. And I remember being a cheerleader and trying to hold this girl up and getting this like chest pain in my chest.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like someone was trying to like stabbing me in the chest, and I had to hold my breath so that the pain would go away. And it was so intense. And I remember thinking like, this isn't normal, but the doctor said I was okay. And it wasn't until I was in my mid 20s that I found out what I had. And it was called it's called a precordial catch. I don't actually have it anymore, so I can talk about it past tense. But basically how I got to Cardio Miracle was my mom introduced me to this product right around that time that I had found out what it was I was actually living with for all those years. I drank Cardio Miracle. Instantly within the first 15 minutes, I felt something incredible happen in my body. It was like this oxygenation that I'd never experienced before. And I felt my body just take this sigh of relief, and it was rejuvenating, and I just decided, wow, I got to look this product up. Like, who are these people? What is this stuff? Because, I'm skeptical. Supplements, there's a dime a dozen. There's a million supplements on the market, but there's truly only one Cardio Miracle. And, the imposters, they just don't compare. And I've tried a lot of supplements in my day. But yeah, I drank Cardio Miracle. I believed in its results. And then I noticed about 3 months later, I thought about it and I was like, wow, I haven't had a symptom of that precordial catch since. But it took me like a few months to realize it, because I had been living my best life without any pain and didn't realize that I didn't have the precordial catch anymore. And this was about probably 3 months into drinking Cardio Miracle. So John Hewlett happened to be coming into Orlando, where I was living at the time. I ended up meeting him and his lovely wife, Janet Hewlett. And I was like, please let me help you guys and get involved with Cardio Miracle. And the rest is history.
Wow. That's great. So
I believe in this product. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like you had sort of early on a little bit of skepticism regarding, so some training from your mom and your life experiences in herbal, plant, natural healing, and a belief in God, and that your body can actually, that God designed your body to heal itself given the right
fuel,
the right fuel, the right nutrients. And so then you had experience. How did your mom discover Cardio Miracle? Because you said you got it from her.
Oh yeah. So I had mentioned this earlier, but she went to Hippocrates Health Institute.
Oh, right.
In West Palm Beach, and she got introduced to it through Brian Clement down there. And at the time, Cardio Miracle had a vegan formula that not many people have tried. I have.
How is it?
Did not taste great. The D2 in our product, I believe, unless John's changed it, but it's from Monterey mushroom. And so, that's a fine vegan ingredient. But you could taste that like as the only ingredient. And it was a bit intense for a lot of people because it was just like no sweetness whatsoever. So some people are like, please bring it back. And John's like, no way. So don't even, you mentioned the vegan before.
Oh, right. So you found almost immediately, you found benefits from Cardio Miracle and helping with your cordial catch.
It's actually, fun fact, it was discovered in the 1800s. It's also called Texidor's twinge. I don't know. And if you look it up on Wikipedia, it says the treatment is reassurance. Reassurance that what? I'm not going to die? Like, crazy.
Yeah. Which doctor can you go to that will write a prescription?
For reassurance.
Here's some reassurance for you. You're doing great. So
that's awful. So,
wow.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
That's great. Well, I'm glad that it's helped and that you've been experiencing these miracles in your life. Do you want to talk about some of the miracles you've seen and for other people? Because I know you've been doing this for almost 5 years now, you said. So you've seen are there any experiences that you'd like to share about that?
I do have a quite memorable experience. It was one of my first events with Cardio Miracle at the Dr. Bradley Nelson Emotion Code Healing event. Cardio Miracle, I believe we had a little table there. And Dr. Bradley Nelson's brother, or anyways, this man is like very important. He's someone important in the family. I can't remember exactly his title, so I don't want to misquote, but he was, because Dr. Brad comes from the chiropractic background before he became the emotion code, body code creator. And that's, part of his story. But he's, got his whole family on Cardio Miracle now. And I had the chance, I'm just going to say his brother, because I think it's his brother, but he's older, and he was in a holistic chiropractor, and he had a stroke, and he had been on Cardio Miracle, I think, for a few months when I met him at this event. And when you think of people that have stroke, you think of they can't speak, they can't really function, they're maybe shaking all over, they're not really like full humans. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's noticeable. I'll say that usually when people have a stroke, and it's sad. And anyways, this man, John told me who he was, John Hewlett. And I was like, what? Like, oh my God. And I actually had the opportunity to meet him. He came over, he actually gave me an adjustment standing up. I've never had an adjustment. Someone just basically like touching barely touching me.
Wait, this is Brad Nelson or his brother? Brad
Nelson's older. I want to say it's his brother, but
okay,
yeah, he's much older. So maybe it's like a brother-in-law. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't want to
misquote. Anyway, he gave you an adjustment.
Nice yeah, he gave me an adjustment, and he barely even touched. It was like an energetic adjustment, basically, and I felt so much better. I had back pain from the hotel bed, and I didn't have it after he did that, and I was like. And that guy is a walking testament of Cardio Miracle. I mean, and he gave me basically a spiritual adjustment, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it was just like, what an experience, it was really cool. So, and that was just one Cardio Miracle. I mean, I could tell you all kinds of stories. People are, I mean, when I talk to them on the phone, I mean, I get people who are crying. I mean, they'll tell me they're walking, they have neuropathy, they can garden again, they can go play tennis, they can swim, they have more energy. I mean, the list is long and varied. So, yeah.
And I mean, even John Hewlett's own story, right, is sort of, that's how it all started.
And Josh Hewlett with his MS. Pretty incredible stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we've kind of got into a little bit deeper into Cardio Miracle and the stories. And, these are, I think they're, I've seen some of my own, but I think for a lot of people that are skeptical, I was skeptical when I first tried Cardio Miracle. I just thought, what is this? Is this just some snake oil powder? Right. But I've been using it, and I like it, and it's got great vitamins. It's got, it works. But I think a lot of people will be skeptical about kind of anecdotal, things. Do you want to say a little bit about the scientific support behind it, or?
Yeah, there's now, I mean, scientifically validated with 3 studies, Dr. Tadeusz Malinsky with the nitric oxide study, emergent system analytics for diabetes, atherosclerosis, and increased vitamin D availability to the cell, which is phenomenal. As you know, most Americans are deficient in vitamin D. So these are serious implications for well-being. And it's a great thing. And we're also endorsed by many doctors and researchers now, Robert Scott Bell, G. Edward Griffin, Dr. Judy Mikovits, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, Mike Adams. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, amazing people, Dr. Christiane Northrup, so we have people that also believe in this stuff. It's not just me, and it's not just a handful of people, and we have real researchers and doctors too looking at this. Even our own Dr. Josh Hellman, biochemist, Harvard, MIT trained. I mean, he recommends this stuff. He's a toxic Lyme mold analyst. That's one of his specialties. And he says he recommends this to his people because nitric oxide, one of the fun things it actually does is it breaks up biofilm. It helps to break up biofilm in the body, which is the basically viral accumulation. You could say it's in your mouth, it's in your body, but nitric oxide helps break that up. So fascinating stuff. But
yeah, thanks. It seems like a lot of it hinges on nitric oxide, and and that's kind of a key component of why Cardio Miracle is so effective. So what I was wondering if you'd like to talk a little bit about maybe some of your experience during the so-called pandemic. So you've been working with Cardio Miracle during this time. What changes have you seen? During that time in your life and in Cardio Miracle.
Hasn't the last 3 years felt like a time warp? I mean, seriously. I mean, I remember 2020, it was probably the summer of 2020. And I was sitting, not in the house I live at now. I had a roommate and she was just watching me shaking her head all day long. I was at the kitchen table and I was just making phone calls to people, customers, because we just, it was actually right at that time that Cardio Miracle was on Supplements Revealed interview with Dr. Patrick and Tempo. And that was released right at like the beginning of the hype of COVID kind of. And so that was like perfect timing. I mean, people were just like, oh yeah, I need to boost my endothelium. I need nitric oxide. I mean, it couldn't have been better timing. So, I mean, I literally remember just months on end, just calling customers, but it was one of the best things I ever did, because for every understanding of why this company exists, to talk to customers is the most powerful indicator of everything. So yeah. How are we on time, by the way? I know it's 1:15.
Yeah, we probably have like a few minutes, but okay. Yeah, we should probably wrap it up. But do you, what else? I mean, what else are you passionate about? Obviously, you're passionate about Cardio Miracle and health and wellness. What
dog.
Else? Your dog. Okay. What kind of dog do you have?
He's an American Bulldog. His name is Panda. He's
Panda.
The greatest. Emotional healing comes in many forms. Cardio Miracle actually helped my mood. I feel healthier and happier, and I feel like my mood has improved since I got on Cardio Miracle. And so, you know, I got Cardio Miracle and I got my dog. Like, it's a win-win situation.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Well, I'm so glad to hear that. I'm so happy for you that these things have been helping, and even during these, you know, very challenging times, and for the great work you're doing as a creative maestro.
Thank you,
yeah. So, and just really thanks for being the first person to come on The Pulse. So
I can't believe it. Woo!
Yeah, it's kind of fun. So
this is great.
So well, yeah, any last words, things you like to add?
God loves you all. Follow the right God home. I saw that in a movie the other night and I was like, okay. Follow the right God home.
Makes sense.
I learned something. I'll say something real. This is the only thing I'm going to say about politics. Okay. Because you want a little bit of pizzazz. I'll give you some pizzazz. Okay. So I read a scripture and I can't remember what scripture is now. I'll find it and reference it. But it said to be inclined neither to the left nor the right, but to do what is right in the eyes of God. And that to me stood out. This was right in the middle of all this craziness with the election. And I thought to myself, you know what? Neither red nor blue for me. It's to do what is right in the eyes of God. And how do you know truth when you hear it? Well, if you don't know truth when you hear it, then I don't know what to tell you. But that's the point, is that I just, you know, neither the left nor the right, neither red nor blue, but to do what is right in the eyes of God. And I think if we all strive to think more along those lines, you know, and I realize everybody is allowed to have an open mind, but we should think about these things. We should think about what that means for our life, to think along those lines, you know. So
definitely. Yeah, I love that. And I love your boldness in declaring your faith and the things you believe. And I agree 100%. So thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you so much, John. Thank you for having me. This has been excellent.
Hope to have you on again.
Thank you. Thank you to our producer, Don.